Okay. You know, I've often said to some of the other men in prison that you know, they're my people, and that these are my peers. This is who I've lived with. And I've bonded with some of these guys, some of these men that are doing life without, and our murderers are my friends. Now, a lot of them are here on this aiding and abetting theory, a theory of what they call vicarious liability in the law. And there's several different ways that vicarious liability can be assigned, but one of the principal one is the aider and abetter rules, and there's also something called the natural and probable consequences doctrine. So, under aiding and abetting, if you exhort, encourage, incite, or aid someone in a felony, and that felony results in somebody's death, under the felony murder doctrine and under the aider and abetter doctrine, together, stitched together, you end up with the same liability as the actual perpetrator. And this could be a travesty. It does not, this is not the sort of travesty that occurred in my case. That's of a different stripe, but it is a travesty that we're giving, that society is giving, handing out life without sentences to men who never had a moment where they crossed that line and became intentional murderers. In fact, they never actually chose to do an action that would directly result in another person's death. They never curled their finger around the trigger of a revolver or plunged a knife into somebody's. And so they didn't have they never did anything that manifested the sort of depravity that you would associate with a life without sentence, the sort of malice, a forethought, or maliciousness, or wickedness. They might have done something like got talked into by their homeboys, or actively, decided to be a getaway driver on a.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Or they might have been members in a gang and went to back up a buddy in a confrontation with another gang, and then suddenly their buddy pulls a gun and shoots somebody, unexpected to lead to all of them, and they end up doing life without time under the natural and probable consequences doctrine, or an aiding and abetting, gang activity doctrine. And it's just so unfair because society's presuming that they were so.
You have 30 seconds remaining.
And given over to malice and depravity that they would kill another person, but really there's no proof that they ever reached that state in their life. And the prosecution theory is otherwise. So most civilized countries in the world, they don't have doctrines like that. They don't put people away for life without possibility of parole at all, let alone in an instant where the person actually never chose intentionally.